When someone disappears from your life or you choose to remove yourself from theirs, it creates an undeniable shift. That sudden absence is powerful because it leaves behind an empty space. For men, this can be profoundly unsettling. They may not realize it right away, but the silence has a way of echoing louder than words ever could. Without your voice, your energy, and your presence, they begin to notice what's missing. It's human nature, isn't it? When we're constantly surrounded by someone, we grow accustomed to them, and sometimes we take their presence for granted. But when that presence is gone, it's as though a light that was always on suddenly goes dark. Curiosity begins to creep in. They start to wonder, what's she doing now? Is she okay? Is she happy? They might scroll through old memories, replay past conversations, or imagine you moving on without them. That silence creates questions, and with those questions comes a pull, a desire to know the answers. Men, like anyone else, often don't recognize the significance of what they have until it's no longer within their reach. And here's the truth, they might not even be aware of this process. At first, they may distract themselves, try to fill the void with other activities or people, but distraction only works temporarily. As time passes, the realization starts to settle and something is different. Something is missing. It's the mystery of your absence that draws their mind back to you. Your decision to step away or remain silent isn't just about creating distance, it's about reclaiming your energy. It's about showing that your world doesn't revolve around anyone else. That move, intentional or not, signals confidence and self-respect. And for a man, that's intriguing. It's a kind of energy that's magnetic because it's rare. You're no longer chasing, no longer readily available, and that shift changes the dynamic. It stirs something within him, a desire to understand what's changed, to reestablish the connection that feels like it's slipping away. The absence also gives him space to reflect on you, on the relationship, on himself. And that reflection, spurred by curiosity, can be the catalyst for his return. He wants to reconnect, not just to fill the silence, but to rediscover the person he now realizes mattered more than he knew. Curiosity is a powerful thing. It's the spark that lights a fire, the thought that won't go away. When you choose to step back, you don't just give him the opportunity to miss you, you create the chance for him to see you clearly, perhaps for the first time. Sometimes it's not until someone is left wondering that they truly begin to value what was always there. Let him wonder. Let him reflect. The mystery of your absence does more than you can imagine. When you step back and let silence fill the space where your presence used to be, something fascinating happens. It's in that silence that your value begins to shine even more brightly than it ever could in your presence. When you were always there, always accessible, it was easy for him to overlook the energy, the care, and the support you poured into the connection. But now, in your absence, the truth of what you brought to his life becomes impossible to ignore. Men often realize the depth of your value only when they no longer have immediate access to it. It's not out of malice or neglect, but a natural part of human behavior. We get used to good things, to stability, to comfort. And then when those things are gone, we feel the shift, the loss. He begins to notice the void you've left behind, the quiet moments that now feel a little emptier to you because they're missing your laugh, your encouragement, or even your presence. In the days and weeks that follow no contact, this realization deepens. He might not be able to put his finger on it at first, but there's an undeniable sense that something significant is missing. It's the way you supported him when he doubted himself, the way you celebrated his victories, no matter how small. It's the warmth of your energy, the stability you provided without expecting anything in return. All those little things, once taken for granted, now stand out like stars in a dark sky. What's happening here is simple. Distance amplifies your worth. By stepping back, you allow him to see what life feels like without you in it. It's not an act of punishment or manipulation. It's the natural consequence of removing your energy from someone who may not have fully appreciated it. He starts to connect the dots, realizing how much lighter his days felt with you around, how much more confident he felt with your support. And here's where it becomes powerful. When you value yourself enough to create that space, you send a message without ever speaking a word. It's a message that says, I am not here to be overlooked. Look, my energy, my love, and my presence are valuable, that silent declaration reverberates louder than anything you could say. And it forces him to confront the reality of his choices. The most intriguing part, this realization often sneaks up on him when he least expects it. Maybe it's during a quiet moment, a memory triggered by a song or a place you used to visit together. Or perhaps it's when he encounters someone else and notices that something is missing, that intangible quality you brought into his life that can't easily be replaced. It's then that he starts to see the full scope of your value, not just as a partner, but as a person. Your decision to step back doesn't just benefit him, it transforms you. It gives you time to focus on yourself, to rebuild your confidence, and to recognize your own worth. And as you grow, your energy becomes even more radiant. That's what truly draws him back, not just the memory of who you were, but the undeniable presence of who you become. In the silence of no contact, your value becomes crystal clear. And the more he reflects, the more he realizes what he lost. That's the power of your worth that speaks volumes, even in your absence. When a man has been without you for a while, something starts to happen inside of him. It's not just about missing your presence, it's about realizing the stability you brought into his life. Relationships are more than companionship, they're often about grounding each other, offering support in the chaos of life. And when that stability is gone, it creates a ripple effect, even if he doesn't recognize it immediately. At first, he might think everything's fine. He might even convince himself that life feels lighter without the commitments or expectations that come with a relationship. But slowly, as days turn into weeks, a new awareness begins to creep in. He starts to notice how unsteady things feel without you there. Maybe it's the way you used to calm him down when things went wrong, or how you always knew the right words to say when he felt unsure of himself. Those moments of reassurance, so subtle and constant, are now glaringly absent. What he begins to miss isn't just you, it's the foundation you built together. Relationships aren't just about love, they're about creating a space where two people can grow, support each other, and find balance. In your absence, he feels that imbalance more acutely with every passing day. The chaos of life starts to feel heavier without someone to share it with, without the anchor you once provided. Men often don't articulate this because it's not something they've been taught to process openly. But internally, the realization builds. It might show up as frustration, as a longing he can't quite put his finger on, or as a sudden wave of memories that remind him of how steady things felt when you were around. It's in those quiet moments when he's alone, when he's left to his own thoughts, that he starts to see what he had. What's powerful about this realization is that it doesn't happen because you demanded it or tried to prove a point. It happens naturally, as a result of you stepping back and allowing him to feel the full weight of life without your presence. That's the gift of silence. It forces reflection. And here's the truth, everyone wants stability. We all crave a sense of home, a feeling of safety in the arms of someone who truly sees us. When you provided that, it became part of his life in ways he may not have even noticed. But now, without it, the absence is unmistakable. He starts to see the difference between the temporary distractions he might have turned to and the lasting comfort you offered. This is where the power lies, not in chasing, not in convincing, but in letting him come to his own realization. When he sees how steady things felt with you, compared to the unpredictability of life without you, it creates a pull. It's not just about missing you, it's about longing for the peace and balance you brought into his life.